Oh, you have to say something.
I can't. I told Kramer I was vaulting it.
You gotta open the vault.
Open my vault?
Open your vault.
Once I open the vault, it ceases to be a vault.
You have no choice.
Wait, vault.
Welcome, fellow KISS fans. Welcome to It's All For You Demon, celebrating the fun of being a KISS fan. And tonight, we are celebrating the GENE Simmons Vault. Came out in 2018. This is a far overdue review, but Dan and myself never had this. And Dan just bought it recently, as Rhino is now selling just the book and the CDs for $80, which is a steal over the price of the original. Now, I guess now it doesn't really sound too crazy. But in 2018, the Vault experience was priced at $2,000. And what you got with that was an actual GENE Simmons Vault. It's like a safe. We've all seen pictures of it. You got the book, the 11 CDs inside, a GENE Simmons doll, a GENE Simmons medallion, and also there was a piece of vintage merch stuck in the vault from Gene's own collection. And on top of that, you got to go to select locations and actually have a meet and greet with Gene, and he would personalize your vault to you, signing it on the top. I remember there were a lot of pictures of the snarky comment he wrote on Eric Singer's vault. That was pretty funny. But the signatures on top in the gold marker and that classic Gene Simmons autograph. Who has the better autograph, by the way? Gene Simmons or Paul Stanley? They're both cool. Who has the better autograph? Me, I'm gonna go Gene. I think Gene's is the coolest. I love the dollar sign. I used the dollar sign on my name for quite a bit in my younger years. All because of Gene Simmons. And I love how he does his E's. I still try to do my E's like that sometimes because it's kind of cool. Although I do like the star in Paul Stanley's signature, so I don't know. They're both cool, but I'm going to go with Gene. But anyway, back to the meet and greet. It was a very cool experience, and I believe if you watch Kiss My Collectibles, the Gene Simmons clip at the beginning of their intro where, you know, I'm Gene Simmons and you're not, you're watching Kiss My Collectibles, I believe that was from a meet and greet experience. So obviously you got to do some pretty cool stuff. You got to talk to him, hang out with him, ask him to film something for you. However, I do remember reading in 2018 that there was a myriad of problems in getting the vault because people would travel to do these meet and greets and you couldn't take this thing on a plane to get back home, and the shipping for this thing would be outrageous. So people were like renting cars and the vault wouldn't even fit in the rental car. Wouldn't fit in the trunk, wouldn't fit in the back seat. You were kind of screwed on how to get this thing back home. It was so big. So all of those issues had to be a bummer because I don't think logistically they put into consideration how gigantic this thing was and people transporting it back home. So that had to be a bummer if you spent $2,000 and then had to spend additional money into a rental car to drive 5 hours or more from the meet and greet experience. And I do remember the very first people to do the meet and greet experience got super cool stuff inside of their vault of the Gene Simmons collection, vintage merch. Like, I think there was like a watch of his. Somebody got an actual makeup kit from the 70s. But then as time went on, you saw people start to get things like an unused ticket to the Kiss Motley Crue show. And to me, that's not really vintage. Like, if it's vintage, you should stick in the Acoin era. Don't be pulling stuff from recent tours. But again, beggars can't be choosers.
All right.
And if you love Gene Simmons and you want to meet Gene Simmons and you love demos of Gene Simmons and collecting Gene Simmons, this vault experience would have been a tremendous opportunity. But for me, there are two factors in there. Money, of course, and then also I'm not really a big demo guy. Until recently, I haven't really enjoyed demos until I got that Dynasty demo CD a few weeks back. I really have never really dove into demos and enjoyed them. That's all changed with the Dynasty demo, and I think that has led to me looking at the vault differently. In 2018, had no interest, really, at all. And then my wife and I went to Vegas and we went to the KISS mini golf. In this mini golf, they had a vault with the book like chained to the vault so you couldn't walk away with the book. And I started flipping through that book and I fell in love with that book. That book to me is like a KISSTORY 3. KISSTORY 2 is a piece of junk in my eyes. KISSTORY 1 is amazing. I consider Lydia Chris's Kiss and Tell book what KISSTORY 2 should have been. And then I consider this Gene Simmons Vault book to be what a KISSTORY 3 should have been. So I walked away from the Kiss Mini Golf absolutely in love with that book, and I remember texting Dan right away saying, the Gene Simmons Vault book is amazing, and it is the kind of stuff you and I love. But even back then, there was no way to get it. Luckily, in 2024, Rhino has obviously selling their back stock, trying to get rid of these Vault books that still remain, have a couple different packages you can get. You can get the Vault book with the CDs, the action figure, and the medallion, or you can get the package Dan has with the book, the CDs, for $80. And so tonight I'm going to give my final thoughts on the Gene Simmons Vault. Not the Vault itself, just the book and the demos. And to me, the easiest way to sum this up is this book and collection of CDs is the perfect rainy day box set. It's the kind of box set you want to skip a day of work, call in sick, rainy day, just snuggle in at home and listen to these demos and read Gene Simmons' thoughts on every song. The demos themselves are amazing. I listened to this with Dan last night, and almost every track we listened to, I had a big ass smile on my face. And there is one disc of like almost all Gene Simmons solo album demos, which I was blown away by that. You know, I love Gene Simmons solo album more than any other solo album in the bunch. That album is so special to me. It's very heartfelt to me. It's my kind of Hugh Hefner dreamer album, if that makes any sense. When the world gets too much and I need to focus on myself and my dreams, the Gene Simmons solo album is the album I go to. And to hear demos of those songs and read along with what Gene was thinking at the time, where he recorded it, who he recorded it with, is just absolutely magical. So in a nutshell, I would say if you are a fan of Gene Simmons and his demos and his writing and some very cool freaking photos, I would splurge the $80 for the Rhino box set of the CDs and book. Am I myself going to buy it? Probably not, because I think this is going to be like a role reversal of Dan and I, where usually like I have a piece of merch, it's kind of Dan's too. I'm going to consider this Dan's, and it's going to be mine too. I can look at it anytime I want, I can listen to it anytime I want, I can read the stories anytime I want. So I'm going to not buy it, but I would recommend it, and I do say it is an enjoyment from beginning to end. And we're going to take a look at some of the coolest photos I've ever seen. I don't know if maybe I've seen these photos and forgotten them, but man, this is like a KISSTORY 3. And Gene Simmons has a magical touch of putting sentences together. And his description of some of these songs, what he was going through, what he was dreaming about, aspirations in life, man, it's just so inspirational, because I think that's what I love about Gene more than any other member of KISS. Gene is that Rod Serling. Gene is that Hugh Hefner. Gene is that infectious dreamer that we all are. We all want to grow up and do something cool. Gene Simmons wanted that too, and he did it. So he's kind of like our hero, and that is reflected in every one of these stories in this book. I would give this an 8 out of 10 if I was going to rank it. And it's definitely worth $80 if you are a Gene Simmons fan, Gene Simmons collector, Gene Simmons admirer of his dreams, his passion, his rock star life. Thank you for hanging with us tonight and waxing Dan's Gene Simmons Vault. Thank you, Dan, for letting me borrow this and dive into this book. This is a lot of fun. This is the stuff that makes us KISS fans. Be good to your babies. Spay, neuter, microchip. Take care. Be safe. We'll talk to you soon. Pee-wee, we need to start putting a $sign in your name. That would be badass.